This is not a video on self-actualization. Why? Because we have no idea here at Psychor what that means. Yes, we've probably read all of the books about it, or not. Maybe we read a summary about it. Probably more likely we did Cliff Notes, but that's beside the point. If you don't know what Cliff Notes are, you're too young. So yeah, screw self-actualization. Let's just go with self-generalization. What is it that you say all the time, Brad? Let's stretch some gradients.
Yes, let's stretch some gradients.
And I can't wait to figure out what visual behind me is going to represent stretching gradients. Like rubber band man type stuff.
Like getting,
yeah, just
like a stretcho.
Yeah, like there's a technical term for that. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
This is great. So we're going to take you from a leptokurtic generalization gradient to a platykurtic generalization gradient. At least that's what we would like to think we're doing. Did I get the B?
About 3 trials.
3 trials. That's it. 1, 2, 3. We're done. We'll give you a couple of videos, and you know what you're doing. That's so wrong. So what was I going to say about self-gen? You wrote this lecture. What am I supposed to? Oh, navigating self-generalization. Not very often do we have notes here, but this is an important topic, and we want to make sure that we do it well. So we have some notes. And believe it or not, this was a lot of times our notes come from prompts from phone calls. And we just sit here and talk on the phone for hours on end because I live on one end of the country and he lives on the wrong end. Subsequently, which is where I used to live, which is why I left, because it was the wrong end. We needed to be on this side. So anyway, right?
West and best rhyme. That's all I got to say.
Ah, that's fine. I love that. I don't have a rhyme with east.
That's exactly it, so suck it.
Except that's where the behavior beast is.
Huh?
The behavior beast is out east. Yeah. Yeah. That one was bad.
Yeah.
Hey, I had to rhyme with east, and we're behavior beasts.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
The behavior beasts in the easts. So, in a nutshell, get shaped, people. Like we've already talked about what generalization is. What OBM is really just a case of generalization, right? So the point is to get shaped. Now, that means you got to try things. So a lot of times I think what happens in not just our field, but in a lot of places, people they get stymied, right? They get stuck. And really what's happening is they're not generalizing, they're responding. And they're not trying things to come into contact with the natural environments and the contingencies that are present, and subsequently their behavior isn't getting shaped. So if you're wanting to know what to do for OBM, a lot of it is really based on skills you've already probably picked up. So what you got to do is try new things in the environment with which you're in. You have to get shaped. Now, there's some big concerns about that. You know, the BACB has a lot to say about whether or not you're allowed to work in this environment without supervised proper training. And that's right. You know, there's a certain value in that statement and that position. And I agree with that in principle. So as you're going forward, though, as you're moving into this realm of OBM and you're working with others that are experts in OBM, what are you doing? This is not a swivel chair. For crying out loud.
Just making your head glow like an 8-ball. There's nothing I can do about it. You have this little halo and I'm trying to get rid of it.
Oh, gosh. Oh.
My journey took me over here.
Like, good Lord, man. Quit pulling me this direction.
Me I came for a squat.
You did a squat. All right. Yeah. So I don't completely disagree with the position that you need to get experience and supervision in a new area in order to be effective in that area. In fact, I'd strongly encourage you to. I just don't want you to be afraid. I want you to understand that with a little bit of support and guidance, you can probably do amazing jobs in the context of OBM, especially if you're a supervisor or if you're a COO type person or the chief of staff or anything where you're in charge of other people, right? Or even the processes that other people operate under while in a business setting. Because all you really need to do is to give a few things a try, and a lot of what we're talking about is just reinforcement. Reinforce the people for the jobs and the behaviors that they need to engage in to complete their jobs and complete the tasks at hand with the proper outcomes. That's OBM in a nutshell. And then, of course, the prompting for all that stuff, the descriptive stimuli for all those things, if they even happen. Jack Michael, which is the theme in all our videos lately. I don't know why. Poor Jack. Like, sorry, Jack. I don't know why I look up there. Anyway. All of the stuff that you already know to do with other people, you just kind of got to do it at work, right? And that's really in a nutshell what's going on. I keep saying nutshell. Jesus, this is one of those videos where I'm full of repeated words and statements. Let's try something else. In other words, give it your best shot. Give it a go. Try something new. Now, when you're planning something new at work and when you're planning a new thing, a new process, new procedure, there's one thing that you got to do first. Put on that ethical filter and put it on heavily. So run your idea, get your idea, write it down, be all excited about it, but then go like, all right, I must put that through the sieve of ethics and let your idea matriculate through and see what happens. Is there any triggers that are set? Are you getting set off at all? Like, whoa, probably shouldn't do that. Consent is a thing. Whoa, I probably shouldn't do that. This is a little beyond my scope of practice. I don't know what's going on. All of those different things that you got to be concerned about with that book of ethics that's like that big. So make sure that you do that first, and then give it a shot. Get yourself some shaping going on. We've got a wonderful video on the art of the science, and that is what I'm talking about here. And Brad does a great job to talk about the application of the science, but allowing yourself to get shaped to a point that's really an art. And that's what we're getting at here, is that reinforcement is reinforcement. Of course you can reinforce, but how you do that in the context of your employees and being sensitive to the needs of your employees is a totally different thing, and that's going to take some work to learn how to do that. So do get some supervision out there, and make sure that you're collaborating with those at work and people know what's going on, that you're trying new things, and don't be afraid to get shaped. In other words, stretch that generalization gradient, okay? Because I'm sure that you can have a positive impact in the world if you trust the skills that you already have. So I think that's about it for that one. Maybe.